Have any of you had some grand plans for the new year? Maybe to exercise more, or to eat healthier, or even learn a new skill? And to find out a month later that these new habits have completely gone away and your old ones have returned? Well, I know I've been there. This year, I wanted to go to the gym more every morning, and 2 weeks into January, I was sleeping in. I was not going to the gym. And it was like almost something inside of me was fighting back with the change that I wanted to have in my life. And this raised the question, why? To answer this question, we have to look at the physical brain itself. There are two main players when it comes to change: the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. The limbic system is the emotional center in the brain. It's important for emotion, it's important for survival and reaction. Inside the limbic system, we have the amygdala. The amygdala is sort of the bodyguard of our brain. It's looking out for us and it's signaling when there's a threat in our environment. But the thing is, the limbic system is really good at its job, but it's a little too good. It can't recognize when something is a real threat or if it's a perceived threat. And that's where the prefrontal cortex comes in hand. The prefrontal cortex is sort of the adult of our brain. It's for making decisions, it's for planning, and it overall can tell if something is a threat or if it's not. But the thing is, the prefrontal cortex has to work really, really hard to override the signals that the limbic system is throwing at us. So not only do we have a physical part of our brain that's going off and changing, but there's also the unconscious mind. In the unconscious mind, there's something called cognitive dissonance. This is when our beliefs and thoughts are not lining up with our actions. It's like mixing oil and water. They're never going to mix. They're just going to keep clashing. And cognitive dissonance is like if I were to tell myself that I am not a morning person, but I'm forcing myself to wake up at 5 a.m. That's not a fact. I'm going against my own thoughts and beliefs. And then we have something called loss aversion. Loss aversion is a theory in behavioral economics that talks about how the pain that we feel in losing something, we feel it way more than the pleasure we feel in gaining something. And so even though our brain knows that we are maybe making a decision to help our life, make us healthier, more successful, our brain is going to focus on the loss, that we're losing comfort, that we're losing familiarity. And so there is so much more to change than just the physical brain and our unconscious mind. There's also our mindset. This makes a huge difference because it's something that we can control. There are two main subgroups: fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset is just believing that your abilities are fixed. There's nothing you can do to change them, there's nothing you can do to improve them. An example of this would be if I tell myself, I'm just bad at math, or I'm not creative. On the other hand, we have something called growth mindset. Growth mindset is believing that you can change your abilities with time, effort, and patience. You know, I have experience with fixing growth mindset this year. As a junior at Doherty Valley High School, I've been taking some challenging classes. One of them is AP Chemistry. And I love chemistry, but it took me a while to get there. Because in the beginning of this year, I definitely had fixed mindset. Every mistake I was making, I was just telling myself, I am just not a science person. I'm not good at this class. And it's because I was focusing so much on my failures. And then when I learned about fixing growth mindset, I realized I need to change my mindset. Once I realized that I was focusing too much on the mistakes I was making, I started looking at the successes that I was doing. I started being able to do my homework problems without looking at the answer key. I was understanding concepts and asking questions, and small things like this led to so much more growth, and I was able to grow. So this is where I'm going to introduce something called the habit cycle. There's an amazing author named Charles Duhigg, and he talks about the habit loop. It's really simple. It's called cue, routine, and reward. So what it is a cue would be like waking up in the morning. Routine would be if I were to check my phone every morning. And reward would be I feel entertained and connected to the world. The thing is, habit loops are very common. We have it everywhere in our life. 40 to 45% of our daily life is habits. And once we keep following habit loops, it becomes more automatic in our brain. And once they become more automatic, our brain literally creates a neural pathway in our brain. And so if we want to create a new habit, we need to create a new neural pathway. So it seems hard at first, but there's some cool ways that we can do this. One of these methods is called habit stacking. So it's where you take a new habit that you want to incorporate into your life, and you mix it in with something that you already do on a daily basis. So for example, I love to drink coffee. I drink it every morning. And let's just say I wanted to start reading more often, and I wanted to be able to create a new habit. Well, I can introduce coffee as my cue. I drink coffee every morning, and I can read a few pages of a book, make that my routine. And then reward would be feeling like I've done something productive in the day. And then I created a new habit right there. And eventually, these small habits can create huge changes in our life and really improve it. So, changing our lifestyle is not easy. And so that's why I recommend to take small steps. You can't just expect to reinvent your life overnight. You have to take small steps. Remember, progress is about consistency, not about intensity. The next thing I have to say is to visualize your success. This doesn't mean to make a vision board or anything, but you could if you wanted to. This is more about just imagining the outcome of your new habits, being able to put yourself after what you've done. And you'll actually notice that you are going to follow these things. So here's my invitation to you. Start thinking about things that you want to change in your life. Something very small even. Something that you can do today. Remember, you don't have to try to change everything overnight. It's just about the small steps that we take, one win at a time. Thank you.